Normal people become terrified of criminals.
Shots were just fired. Police just came out and told us, and we're headed there right now.
They become terrified of their own government.
I want to pull up this clip from Tucker Carlson, episode 49, the Dana White interview. How many of you watched this? Okay, it's basically just an ad for Bud Light, where Dana White says, I'll just grab a random point at this. Let's just see what happens.
Support their people like Mexicans support their people. And you should be able to walk in with your country's flag. So I brought it back.
Were you under pressure not to allow it?
There's always, when you deal with it. I consider myself a proud American. I'm happy to be an American. I love this country. And you are way more aligned with Anheuser-Busch than you are with other beer companies. That I guarantee you.
Have you taken any crap for it?
Listen, people are going to say what they're going to say. I don't care what people. I know who I am. I know what I stand for. I know what I believe in. And the people who are close to me know. And I'm on the right side of this.
Basically, the first few minutes of this 9-minute clip is Dana White saying everyone should go out and buy cases and cases of Bud Light because they're more aligned with you than you know. And I agree with him. I don't know how much he can say to drive the point home, but you have a lot of people saying, no way, Bud Light is dead to me, etc. And you know what? I don't think it matters all that much either way, but I'm on the buy Bud Light train right now. We have Brian Krasenstein says, quote, buy Bud Light. Dana White agrees. Do you? I think it's silly to judge a company by one single advertisement partner they had, whether it's the UFC or Dylan Mulvaney. Just buy products you like. Stop trying to cancel every single thing just because you may or not 100% agree with every political ideology they may have. This is one of the greatest victories. You know why? The right boycotted Bud Light. Bud Light sales tanked 30%. Bud Light desperately tries to win back the customers. They sponsor Harley Davidson. Doesn't work. Then they do a massive deal with UFC. And we all kind of groan like, why would UFC do this? And then Sean Strickland comes out and says, Bud Light has now sponsored everything I have to say. And he said some things I can't repeat on YouTube because of the censorship. But very, I would say to many people offensive, though many of these people are offended by everything. And that means Bud Light switched from underwriting wokeness to underwriting anti-wokeness. There's nothing more you can ask for. I suppose you could ask for an apology, but money has changed hands. And there were people commenting on the Tucker interview saying, what did Bud Light do besides money changing hands? And I'm like, that's exactly it. They're funding a bunch of based AF MMA fighters now and UFC and not Dylan Mulvaney. Yeah. That's a win.
Individuals like Conor McGregor, who are also becoming more and more outspoken politically and might even run to be president of the United States. President of Ireland.
And so now when Brian Krasenstein says, come on, everybody, stop boycotting, I say, hear, hear. When the liberals don't boycott Bud Light, but the conservatives do, it creates an inverse pressure. The pressure used to be that conservatives won't boycott, but liberals will. So give the liberals what they want, because conservatives will just roll with the punches. But now that conservatives are boycotting and the liberals saying roll with the punches, it's going to create the inverse pressure system where now companies are going to push in the opposite direction and cancel the woke.
Does it have like a $100 million contract? Is that what it is? So that's the company that owns Anheuser-Busch is a Belgian. It's not an American company, Dana, just so you know, it's Belgian. It's called AB InBev. They bought it. They're worth $15.5 billion. So this drop in the bucket of their money, I don't see what you're seeing, Tim. I kind of understand the method.
Bud Light specifically.
Yeah, but he's like Anheuser-Busch. Anheuser-Busch is owned by AB InBev, which is a Belgian company.
He said buy Bud Light.
Mm-hmm. And he was just saying in that clip that Anheuser-Busch is the best American company. It's the best. It's a Belgian company.
With you than most of these other beer companies.
I don't think he said it was American.
Companies are. That I
thought I heard him say that.
Take it from somebody who's in the know, who does business with beer companies. You are way more aligned with Bud Light than you are with any other beer company.
I mean, they didn't come into partnership with you by accident.
No.
Obviously.
We had multiple bidders on the table.
Did they seek you out?
We had multiple bidders on the table. They were one of them. And as history has shown me with relationships that I've had with other beer companies, who lean more this way.
Yep.
I, who consider myself a patriot, I don't go crazy over the whole patriot thing, but I consider myself a proud American. I'm happy to be an American. I love this country. And you are way more aligned with Anheuser-Busch than you are with other beer companies. That I guarantee you.
Have you taken any crap for it?
Listen, people are going to say what they're going to say. I I don't care what people.
I don't think that they're an American company.
No, well, he's talking about patriotism there, and then he
wants
talks
you to
about
associate it with being American. Like you can definitely get that vibe, even if he doesn't say like, "Oh, it's an American company."
He uses the word patriot and proud American, and then he sells you on a Belgian company that has no free speech.
What we want is a circumstance in which Bud Light loses money when they go woke, and they make money when they go anti-woke. So that every single other company will go, hey guys, if we sponsor woke people, we're gonna lose money. But if we sponsor anti-woke people, we'll make money. If everybody still boycotts Bud Light, then it's a win either way. Because then companies are gonna say, look, don't go woke because you'll lose money, but going conservative doesn't help you either. Just don't go woke.
Wouldn't you consider what he just did woke? Like he just said, I'm a patriot, I'm an American, so buy a Belgian beer. That's what? That's woke as hell. Like do your research, Dana. It's a Belgian beer.
It's not woke at all.
It's not how's that help American patriotism to serve the Belgians?
What?
He's encouraging people to buy his Belgian beer.
Well, I'm kind of split on this because...
But what does that have to do with anything?
He used patriotism to sell people on a foreign beer.
Yeah, it's disingenuous. I agree with you on that.
Yingling, I guess.
And I think that it would have been... Yeah, I mean, I think he clearly wanted you to associate this beer with patriotism for America, and so that's disingenuous. But I'm split on the idea behind it, what Tim's saying, because it's like on one hand, it's kind of a Pavlov's dog situation where it's like we want to train these companies to not be woke, and therefore we should reward them when they are no longer being woke. But at the same time, maybe it takes actually putting these companies out of business to send a clear message. Maybe that was the end. Maybe that should be the end goal rather than just to make them suffer a little bit. I don't know. I'm not saying that, like, you know, I see both sides.
You can't put them out of business.
Well, I mean, I think
Anheuser-Busch could subsidize Bud Light ad infinitum. So the best opportunity is to give them the incentive, use the carrot, not the stick.
So then it goes, then the question then becomes like, to what end would you boycott them? Like, what's the end goal? That would have to be the decided answer. And then I think, you know, your
economic damage, which was 30% in sales. And then they gave $100 million to UFC. And at first, we all said, oh, groan. We don't like Bud Light. They got woke. They go broke. A lot of people wanted to go to business. And then Sean Strickland came out and said a whole bunch of things on Twitter, laughing, saying Bud Light sponsored. Thank you. This message brought to you by Bud Light. We all laughed and said, we went from Dylan Mulvaney and in 6 months, Sean Strickland.
Right. So
we like what Sean Strickland says. So we want Bud Light to fund more of what Sean Strickland says. And then we want every other company to see, hey, guys, if we go with the UFC dudes, we're going to make a lot of money.
I'm not going to be happy until there's a can of Sean Strickland with a do-rag presented to the American people. If they do that, then maybe I could give them a chance. Personally, I don't like alcohol. I don't like booze. It calcifies your pineal gland. It gives you Bill Gates moobs. That's beyond the point
Does it
here.
really calcify your pineal gland?
A lot of beer is filled with fluoride. And fluoride
there you go.
calcify your pineal gland.
Okay, it's important to clarify.
Yeah. But I think that, you know, I'm kind of like in the middle here as well, because I understand your point. I understand your point as well here. How do we kind of move forward here? I would love to have an alternative company, an American company, come out and say, hey, we're going to take their lunch. I would rather that.
We do
personally
have that.
myself.
We have
ultra right conservative beer.
Conservative Dad's ultra right beer.
Personally, I'm like, don't do anything
and
to booze.
Seth Weathers is going to be here on the show. I don't know. I think maybe this week. Or is he,
I think it's this week. It's this week.
And what he's doing is fantastic. So, you know, you can check out his work as well. But my point is just simply, it's not about destroying. It's like, look, do you want to raise the enemy village or take control of it to utilize its labor forces and resources?
It depends on the situation.
Certainly. And in this situation, you basically have a village of people who are all growing crops, bowing down to you, saying, please, 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 we'll give you our wheat. Just please stop. And instead, it's like you've got people saying, no, but just keep destroying everything.
But that's what they would do to us. They would destroy us.
I want their resources. I want to take all of their money and put it towards Sean Strickland and other based UFC fighters so they can go on Twitter and say anti-woke things. Destroying it doesn't serve a purpose.
Well, if you're talking about, see, in the metaphor, you've got the people and then you have the resources, and the people are traitors and they say, please, please, please let us join you, but they're treacherous. Then you might want to remove the humans from that situation to take the resources for yourself. So there are other times that you would actually let them serve you.
The resources is the human capital and labor.
Then you would put them in slavery or something like that. This is just military talk, of course, that you would enslave the population and make them work for you if you didn't trust them. Not really,
you just take taxes from them.
Yeah, it depends on how treacherous they are.
In military, you conquer a city and you use its resources towards your military goals. In this instance, we're talking about culture war. We can see Bud Light destroyed, or all of that money they have can go towards anti-woke initiatives, and then we're actually being armed culturally against the wokeness.
If I see
Wait, I have another nuanced point on this that might be diverting it a little bit, because I brought up Bill Gates' moves here, and I just remembered Bill Gates bought a whole bunch of stocks for Anheuser-Busch, and therefore, Tim, I totally disagree with you. I am with Ian on this one.
Bill Gates buying public stock to try and destroy the company makes sense to help Bill Gates and to help wokeness. He wants to make sure no one gets behind the company and they can't recover. For this reason, he's basically saying, scorched earth, if they claim Bud Light, then we are going to lose resources. By buying into it, he's going to get people like you to refuse to support the company that is funding UFC anti-woke personalities.
I did some numbers earlier. The revenue of Anheuser-Busch was $15.5 billion in 2018, 15.5. The revenue of its parent company was $52 billion, so 52 in 2019. Anheuser-Busch is a skin suit. It's not a real company. It's owned by a Belgian company called Anheuser-Busch. $52 billion in income and revenue in 2019. So unless they put like $6-7 billion towards this stuff that we like, I'm not going to start to think they really care at all. I think this is a.
I don't think they care.
This is just a publicity stunt.
Of course, and it doesn't matter. The woke leftists have captured the institutions, and the argument from the right is to sacrifice the institutions instead of reclaiming them. That makes no sense. The goal should be to reclaim and control all of the cultural institutions so that we can then indoctrinate young people to American values.
Some of the institutions need to fail, I think. Some we need to.
That's what I think too. That's kind of why I'm in more of like the let them suffer. And like they would do that to us. Like they want to destroy us. They want to destroy everything. And so if it was like a patriotic company and this was happening, they'd be like, no, keep pushing them. Don't buy anything from them. That's why we're like, whenever they cancel us, they have no forgiveness. They have no grace whatsoever. And it's like, why would we extend that to them? Don't they? We're not extending it to
them. You're like, it's like saying, quick, burn down our own bridge that we've reclaimed because they would have burned it down too. Why? We need the bridge.
Why not? If we're gonna build culture, why are we just gonna destroy all of what they have built? If we can't just take it for ourselves and use it ourselves, why wouldn't we do that? It makes no sense to get rid of it.
So imagine this.
Like the One Ring, you know?
Bud Light is not. Bud Light is a factory. You have woke forces and anti-woke forces. Woke forces have taken over the factory. As of the past few months, the anti-woke forces have reclaimed the servitude of the factory. And now the argument is, quick, burn the factory down. Why? We have it. It's ours. We get it all.
Because a reason why.
The anti-woke MMA fighters are getting paid more money. UFC is getting funded. This means the public will recognize the statements made by these fighters are funded by Bud Light. You have lost this cultural battle.
Except if the factory, if you're like, now that's our factory, but who is in that factory running that factory and who are their financial ties behind the scenes that I don't know? So if I really want to leave that factory up and running, what's the risk?
Yeah. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.